Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Far Direction again. My name is Mary Apollo. I'm back to the show after a while. And today I have a special guest. We are going to talk about women empowerment and the project that she's doing for women in Kenya and Africa and globally. I'm joined by the founder of Upendo, Miss Njeri Seller. Welcome, Miss Njeri.
Thank you for having me, Mary. It's a pleasure to be here with you this morning, actually.
Yeah, thank you too for welcome to the Four Direction. First, tell me about what is the meaning of Opondo, your organization.
Oh, okay. Upendo means love. It's a Swahili word for love. That's what upendo is. So we chose that word name because what we do, we are doing it out of love, out of the compassion that we have for the women in Africa.
Okay, you choose women. Why do you choose to work with women and young girls?
Well, the project actually started as a result of I was watching a presidential election that was happening in Kenya in 2013, and the seven candidates who were being interviewed, they were talking about when they do get elected, they're going to make sure that they have sanitary pads in schools. And that just didn't sit well with me. And I thought, somebody needs to do something about that, and I never thought that somebody would be me. But because I couldn't shake it off after watching what I watched, I wanted to find a solution. And women, so much so, because when we empower women, we will definitely be lifting up a whole village. A lot of women invest so much and give back into the community. Especially in Africa, it's a well-known factor that when you give $100 to a woman, 90% of that will go back to the community, unlike when the same amount is given to a man. So I believe in women empowerment. I believe it's important for our daughters to be educated, and it is sad to see that they miss school because they cannot afford sanitary pads, or they cannot afford a way to be in school during that time of the month. And so most of them do end up dropping out of school. And that's the reason why I'm very passionate about women's empowerment. And I also grew up with a mother who really empowered me as a girl and made sure that, she prioritized me when it came to education just as much as she did when it came to the boys' education.
To the project, how did you start doing the grassroots work with your organization, and how do you get the community involved and also the young girls that we see you have working with them?
Well, when we started with just doing research, asking questions. I partnered up with friends and family back in Kenya to find out if this problem, what I saw, is it real? Is it really something that's been happening? Or is it, just a political thing? Only to find out my first trip to Kenya, before I even went, there were other organizations which were already doing what I'm currently doing. And I sat down with one of the founders for the organization that was already into providing washable, reusable pads to girls in Africa. And that's when, and doing more of the research, finding out online, found out that it's really a global problem. It's not just in Africa. And now that the government was talking about it, I really wanted to go into the country and ask questions, talk to the Department of Education, find out what is really going on, and if this is something that needs to, be brought up in the public, somebody where we need to talk about it, raise awareness for that. So it is, that's how we started our grassroots, really. And we started in Kenya. They say charity begins at home. And so after Kenya, we started venturing out to other countries to see how are the rest of the nations surrounding Kenya and other parts of Africa, how are they dealing with this issue? How are they, is it the same? Is it the same problem? And what is being done to help end the period poverty in Africa?
You also work in some countries here. Your project is work in Zanzibar, Malawi, Cameroon, and then I think upcoming project you will be having in Zambia, Rwanda. Why do you choose other countries in the continent?
We've actually been to more than that. We've been, in addition to the countries you mentioned, we've been to South Africa as well. We've been to Uganda also. And we wherever the doors open up where there's grassroots people connect me with people from their nation and tell me you can work with this particular person, building that relationship so that I can be able to venture into the country that has been introduced to me. That's how we really have been going into these different countries. And my passion is really Africa as a whole, because it's 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 my continent, it's where I come from, and I know that if the problem is in Kenya, the problem is in other countries, and I would like to see how each country is tackling the problem and how we can work with the locals in the country to help them put together programs that will enable them to have solutions for their own people that works for them. It's not a cookie cutter uh, program, but we do try to not try to reinvent as much, but try to introduce based on what the needs are in each particular country. Because if I tell you the cost of pads in Kenya are probably $1, I might go to another country and find they're $1.50. So I cannot tell you, oh, this is how much it's going to cost to really help the people locally in that particular country. I do my research to find out what are the costs, what does it take for each country, and to be able to better understand when it comes to the stats and the logistics of what we're dealing with.
Take you to the project a little bit. When there is for example, when there is a girl who want to join the Ubuntu project, what are the process and how you get them involved in the community work?
We solely rely on volunteers, especially the boots on the ground. Like I said, the people who are introduced to us. So what we do, we work with the Department of Education to find out exactly which girls really, really need the supplies of what we're providing, the most impoverished, because the schools have a way of putting a log of which kid missed out on school because of, they will talk to the teachers know this kid has been missing school a lot because they cannot afford sanitary pads. So that's how we really qualify the local girls. In the community, we also partner with, local women's groups or churches, or just as a way of infiltrating to find a way how we can get more information from the women. We learn from them and what they can do, and how we can help the communities. Our goal is really right now to help the communities start sewing centers so that they can be able to make the products themselves. Currently, all of our products that we send out to these nations are made here in the US by senior citizens. They are volunteers. So if we have a huge order, we do have a manufacturer we can source from in Egypt, and they are able to, supply the demand of what we need. If it's a huge supply, let's say we want to hit 4,000 girls, and we have the money, so we are able to, source our products directly from her, and then we do the distribution locally and have the products shipped to the country that we're doing the distribution to.
Yeah, I just want to know about what is next in your vision that you want to achieve.
What the biggest goal for us right now is to set up the sewing centers in each country. If we take one country and we create a prototype of how we can implement, we already have the instructions on how to make the products. So we would like to work with community leaders in the villages to put together sewing machines, provide the supplies of what they need, get them up and running, and so that they can sustain themselves, and hand it over to the community, hand the project over to the community so they can be able to do that. We currently recently started a program where we've partnered with Nelson Mandela University as a prototype of what can be done. And we are hoping that that is something that we can replicate across the continent.
Part of the, I don't know, now you're based in the US, and then you have the five, five or 301, like registered non-profit organization.
Mhm.
I just want to see how possible you will get to work with the connection as a here in the diaspora and in back home,
Mhm.
and also the long-term plan that you have and the vision you have for Upendo.
So, we are a registered 501c3 organization, registered in California. Everything we've been doing pretty much has been based on, sponsors just giving to us, individuals, small companies donating to us. So that's what we've been doing. Our long-term goal would be to find source of income where we can, if we get grants, to be able to put together these sewing centers. We already know how much what it would cost to put together a sewing center in each area. So if once we are able to find the resources of what we need, then we can start one sewing center at a time, and then use that to replicate. We are looking for people who can partner with us to help us implement this and make it a possibility, so that we can. Our goal is to see us ending period poverty by 2030. I know it's a stretch, but it's possible and it's doable. There is also other solutions that we have come up with to introduce, and the solutions such as the menstrual cups. There's an organization in South Africa that is also manufacturing the menstrual cups, and so that's another way, if we have an investment, we can be able to produce more for to be distributed to the women and girls in Africa, and also create job opportunities for the women who are making these menstrual cups.
Is there anything else you would like to add for today's conversation, Ms. Njeri?
Well, we really appreciate, Mary, this platform you have given unto us to be able to just bring forth ideas and our, what we need, the kind of support we are looking for. We hope that people can come along and partner with us and help us make this happen, make this a reality. We know very well one of the biggest challenges we had the last 2 years because of the pandemic is the fact that our products are being made here, that we donate to the women in, the girls in Africa. During the pandemic, because there was no income coming in, it was very challenging to be able to send those products to Africa. And we know very well that periods don't stop with the pandemic. And it's so unfortunate because this year alone, in last month actually, we went and visited a group home. We have an article written on that, a group home where young girls who traded themselves to get pads ended up being pregnant. And it's a group home with almost 50 girls. And you can imagine how many more girls had to do that, especially during the pandemic. And so now these girls have dropped out of school, they have babies, there's more added responsibility. It's more like almost poverty begetting poverty. We have to think of a solution as to how we can create, vocational training for them. And there would be the ideal students to teach how to make the products so that they can be able to, other non-profit organizations who are willing to do what we're doing can source from these girls. The girls can be able to get jobs and be able to feed their children. And also we can be able to reach more people because we cut costs when it comes to shipping. It costs a lot to ship anything, especially during this season. And if we want to make sure that there's a complete there's a continuous supply in what we are providing, it's better to have the products made in the in the local countries.
Okay, thank you so much. That's a great initiative, Miss Njeri, and I see a lot of comments from people that have been working in the same project. So yeah, it was wonderful meeting you. I hope that we will meet more in the future and have more conversation and talk about a way forward also.
I appreciate. Thank you so much for having us here. I
Thank you so
really
much.
do appreciate. Yes. Thank you,
Have a
Mary.
good day. Have a
Have
wonderful
a
day.
wonderful day too.
Talk to you soon. Bye.